What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. If you're listening at Omni Studio and iTunes and Spotify and at allthingscomedy.com and on allthingscomedy.com. They got a host of comics with their own podcasts. Bill Burr, Ron Funches, Mike Young, Eddie Pepitone. The list goes on. Tiger Belly with Bobby Lee. Kelsey has her own podcast there. It's a smorgasbord. Bert Kreischer. If I keep listing it, again, I said this before, we'll never get to my show. So for your podcast listening needs, go to allthingscomedy.com. Got a ton of podcasts there. And the sponsor for the show is onthevolleyapparel.com. And I thought I brought them up. Yeah, there we go. And now I got to go to here. And then I got to share here and click there and do a share there. And boom, there's our merch from onthevolleyapparel.com. And we got 3 sets of t-shirts, $30 to $32 a piece. We got the gray, we got the black and yellow, we got the black, red, and white, and some dope shirts with like the little shield on the sleeve. So boom, check that out. Go to stop share, back to us. And we got 2 of the usual suspects. And and don't worry about me. If you're listening, you can't see that I have on this old Manchester United Sancho shirt that I had for years. And so if you're listening, you can't see me in my old Manchester United Sancho shirt that I've had for such a long time. You know, I don't like to go out and buy their new merch and support the Glazers. It's just, I've had this, you know what I'm saying? So before that, let me introduce 2 of the usual suspects. And we got Lee, Southampton Hudson, Southampton fan, rocking his Southampton shirt. And he's a comic from England. And I want to ask you something, Lee, in a minute, like about what you was doing this week or earlier today. And but before that, we go to the happy man of Chelsea, Neil Chakravarti, Chelsea fan and stand-up comic, lives in San Diego by way of India. What up, Neil? Muted.
Sorry. No, I was saying much more happier today. I mean, Martin could have filled my cup, but
right.
It was not.
For some reason, Martin is unavailable. He says he has to shoot movies, but it's kind of mysterious based on the fact that Spurs tied midweek and then they got crushed at the weekend by Neil's team, Chelsea. But we're gonna get into that. Hold on a second. I'm getting a message on my headset from Pep. He wants to. Did Man City play today in the Carabao Cup?
Mm-hmm.
He wants to thank the 5 people who showed up to watch the Man City game at the Etihad today. Etihad's got to be the funniest thing I've ever heard in a long time. Somebody came up with Etihad. That is funny.
And they sold out at the weekend against us, though.
Yeah, they sold out to watch the team drop points. Yeah, that's great. Great game.
Didn't do them any good.
So even when fans show up for Man City, they show up to the wrong game. They could have came to a 5-2 or 5-3 thriller midweek and watch a win, an exciting game. But instead, they decided to spend their money on a boring 0-0 draw against Southampton. But at least Pep was right. He said Southampton's a dangerous team. Don't sleep on them, and come out to watch us draw in droves. And that's what the fans did. So good.
Pep had more faith in us than I did.
Yeah, so. I know. Shit. I'm trying to figure out which one to go to first. Let's just get through Man United because we have a lot of stuff there. It wasn't the game of the week, but it became the game of the weekend just because of how the events unfolded. Like, it was just, this game had everything. And I posted that on on my Instagram, but Manchester United versus West Ham. There's like 3 people who messed up midweek but redeemed this week. And like I know, I said Ronaldo scored, so that's always big. It's his 3rd game and his 4th goal for Man United, so that's fucking huge. Like, you know, showing that he's the better of the Ballon d'Or players between him and Messi. Messi got subbed out of his game this week. We'll get back to that. But Ronaldo scored, and Jesse Lingard was subbed in by the same coach that a lot of people were screaming to get fired, because this guy, they were saying, made a mistake midweek, and he's made a bunch of mistakes and he should be fired. But he had the balls to double down and keep his faith in a player and make a move that most people wouldn't have made. And the thing I like about Ollie is he sticks to his guns. Sometimes it's to his detriment, but you got to admit, most of the time it works out for him. There's going to be a push or shove line that he's going to come to where he has to make decisions that definitely work out in his favor, or he will lose his job. But I always think Ollie is a coach who's learning on his job. And it's good to see your coach have balls to put in a player who made a mistake midweek that cost us a match, and to be like, nah, I'm putting him in. Because if Lingard doesn't score and we tie the game or lose the game, he's definitely, the demand for Ollie to be fired would definitely be made. Like, to take out Pogba and to put in Lingard, that's a no-no. The only way to save it is Lingard has to deliver, and he did, and he delivered against his old team. When I say old team, I don't really mean old team. He was on loan to West Ham, and so it was a friendly environment for him to come in and play. They applauded him before he scored, so they helped. Thank you, West Ham fans, for helping Jesse Lingard be his best against you. I appreciate the beautiful atmosphere you provided for him, and De Gea, you know, in the Euro finals, the Europa League finals, he didn't come close to saving any one of those penalties, but he did in this game. And I want to also say, Moyes, you can substitute in a penalty taker against us anytime. We appreciate you. And I want to talk about the penalties. The referee in the Premier League was going good until this weekend. This weekend, there was a lot of discrepancies. There's 3 games I can think of. But I agree with the call in your game, Lee, but I know you don't. So what do you guys have to say about Manchester United versus West Ham?
You want to go first, Neil?
Yeah, go.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, I thought, well, it was almost like just an old school United performance where even though they don't play great, they pull the win out, which is a good sign for you guys. You still make it happen, kind of thing. Obviously, like you say, Ronaldo's a monster, just 4 goals in 3 games. Like, I mean, everyone knew he'd still be good. I mean, there were some doubters, but anyone that knows football knows that he was still going to be good despite his age. And I mean, I've always been more of a Messi fan than a Ronaldo fan, but I think Ronaldo is more on top now. He's definitely aging better, it seems. So, yeah, I mean, it was an interesting game. That whole sub call from Moyes to bring Noble on was, I mean,
great call, man. That's great coaching.
If he puts it in the top corner, then he's a genius, isn't he?
Yeah.
It is what it is. But I was kind of pleased for De Gea, though. Like you say, a bit of redemption for him after the whole Europa League thing. And he's always got the reputation that he's not good enough on penalties and things like that. So, yeah, good for him. But, I mean, for you guys, it was a much needed 3 points. Keeps you in that, you know, in that mix. So, yeah, interesting game.
And Neil, anything?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know what Lee said about, United didn't have their best game and still won. I feel like we've been saying this for a while now about this United team, going back to last season. And I think what somebody like Ronaldo brings is so that statement before is already kind of showing that, you have these match winners in your team that, will get you the 3 points. And you add Ronaldo, who is probably the biggest match winner, you've had in the last 10, 15 years. So it just takes that, it just takes that to overdrive. So, and he's doing that. I mean, you kind of have to wonder, like, because I don't think United has their best game. It definitely felt like, because West Ham has, been on the resurgence over the last couple of years. So you kind of expect such a game from West Ham. And it felt like it was a game between two pretty closely matched teams, but one team has killers and the other doesn't. So, that was the difference. I think penalties, they kind of, why we spoke about this right at the Euros, like when Gareth Southgate brought in those three guys. But I feel somehow this is even dumber, because at least at the end of extra time, that there is going to be penalties. So there's some element of planning towards it. I don't understand. I don't think anybody knew that there was going to be a penalty at the, in stoppage time after extra time. So you're literally picking up Mark Noble from the crowd, I would believe, because he's definitely stopped warming up at that point. So it was really, really dumb. And also, it's not like West Ham had zero penalty takers on the pitch. Like Declan Rice has taken penalties. He in fact, he picked up the ball. He put it on the spot. He was gonna take it. So and it's so uncharacteristic from somebody like David Moyes. Like, it seemed like a very new age hipsterish move. I don't know why an old school manager like David Moyes would do something like this. So, and he's probably just trying to, I'm sure they had some data, but.
They had some data. Noble has scored 10 of his last penalties from like 2016 or something like that. So he doesn't miss. And I disagree with you during the Euros. And this is a thing, like what Lee said. If he scores, then there has to be a precedent for everything, right? So it's funny that you're against this, right? A guy, like, let me ask you, what's easier? This was how I phrased it in my head, because I knew it was going to come to this point in this conversation today. What's easier, scoring a penalty or saving a penalty?
Scoring. That's
easier. So it's harder to save a penalty, right? So then, this is where you contradict yourself.
No, I know what you're going
in the Super Cup, your coach calls on a very cold goalkeeper to perform an even harder task than scoring, and your goalkeeper was successful. So why?
I'll tell you the difference. The first thing is what I already told you about. If you have penalties, if you have a penalty shootout, that's something that a team going into any knockout game has already planned for. Like they said, like, no. Here's what you.
This just sounds like some shit you're making up.
No, but this is
your argument.
Well, maybe Thomas Tuchel is making it up
because you're saying. Listen,
no, but I said this even before you brought up Chelsea.
I know, but can I say something? You're on a team. You're on a bench. Mark Noble's had at least a decade of playing professional football. Everybody knows. Stay ready. Anything could happen at any moment. Like, nothing is a surprise. Like people get injured. Like McGinn this weekend got injured. It was kind of like a concussion thing, and his cheek got hit in the Villa game, and somebody had to come on. Leon Bailey had to come on and took a masterful free kick and then scored a blazer.
Did he take a masterful free kick within 5 seconds of coming on?
All right, listen. Last week, Crystal Palace versus Spurs. They put on, is it Eduardo? His first touch.
No, you can do it, but you're not expected to do it, is my point.
What are you saying? You're a football player. You're always expected to. You're a football player. They pay you millions of dollars to be ready to do your job.
No, but I'm saying, like, you increase your percentages of success. Like when you're talking about the Super Cup stuff, this is what Thomas Tuchel said, that going back to last year when he took over the job, he played the first knockout game we ever played under him was Barnsley in the FA Cup. And the data, this wasn't even a decision that Tuchel himself made. He said that, people who've been at the club from before, they had the three keepers, Caballero at the time, and they came up with the data saying the ranking is this: Caballero, Kepa, Mendy is last. So if it ever goes to a penalty shootout, we're going to stick to that. And obviously Caballero is gone. So Kepa gets ahead of Mendy. So there are no surprises here. Like there's nobody, Mendy
It's
is
always
not,
a surprise when you
Mendy's
sub
not,
in Kepa for Mendy.
no, but it's a
There's
surprise
no
to
way.
us. It's a surprise to us.
No. But I agree with it.
It's not a surprise. It was a surprise to Declan Rice. Declan Rice had the ball in his hand. He was going for the spot. There's no other proof you need. Like, we don't need to guess about it here.
Yeah, but the data
we saw it.
The data, like, listen, you can't let your coach. Can I ask to say something? Yeah. Why can your coach use data, but Moyes not use data?
No, he can use data. He can use data. But if it was like, the same thing I'm saying, that if it was that cut and dry a decision, then you wouldn't have seen Declan Rice do what he did.
But Declan Rice grabbed the ball because he's the normal penalty taker when Noble's not on the field. So he grabbed the ball instinctively.
He didn't expect Noble to come on the field.
Right. So what does that mean? That has no factor in it, because
which means it was a last minute call that was made. It wasn't and he's paying for it. We are not paying for it.
So football has a last minute call. Surprise. Like what are you saying?
He just decreased his. I'm not saying it was he completely tanked it, but he went for. He fixed something that wasn't broken.
Go ahead, Lee.
I will back Neil up to an extent in saying that although Noble has an amazing penalty record, those penalties were all in games that he most likely started and had been on the pitch the whole time for. There's no record, there's no data to support him coming on and taking a penalty, having sat still for 90 minutes.
But how come a goalkeeper can do that? Sat still for 90 minutes. Krul did it in the World Cup, on a the biggest stage. And
there's also times it's been done and hasn't worked.
yeah, for sure. But like, you can't be like, I'm pro data now and not pro data another time. When it's like Brentford plays Moneyball. They're
not for that individual player, though.
So what?
For that individual player, like I said, there's no precedent of him coming off and scoring. If it's something they did every time, then yeah. But like I say, all the penalties he's ever scored in the past have been when he's been in the game.
I don't know, man. Yeah. They put their best penalty taker on the line, and we had our best goalkeeper on the line.
Also, I think your point about which being the tougher of the two tasks to complete in a penalty, I think that actually means that the pressure is on the guy taking the penalty because it's the easier task, not on the keeper. So the keeper is reacting. You have to initiate the play as the guy who takes the penalty. So you're already under pressure. Nobody blames somebody for not saving a penalty. If you hey, I don't save 10 out of 10, maybe, yeah, but that's like a very exceptional case.
Oh, he's not saved more than 10 out of 10.
No, but I'm talking about what happened with Villarreal in the Europa League final.
Yeah, he hasn't saved penalties way before that either.
So it has to get that bad for a keeper to get shit over not doing well on a penalty.
But still a good point.
But anybody who misses a penalty always gets shit on. So this is a pressure-filled task, and you're giving that task to somebody who's been chilling.
How many penalties have been missed by people who were on the field playing the game? It's not a sure shot thing, but I'm just saying you're reducing your chances of success. Not really, because so many penalties have been missed, and you said the pressure's on the penalty taker, but you can't say that the pressure's on you can't say which job is easier and then try to say, are you saying that taking a penalty is harder now because there's more pressure on the penalty taker than on the keeper? Or that's just... No. It's easier. So there's more pressure to get it done. Then that's all that matters. So what? It's easier, so there's more pressure to get it done. I like it's like... So which one's harder, saving it or saving it? Of course, saving it is harder. All right, so that's all we need to know. Yeah, but I'm just talking about what's more pressure, nobody blames somebody for not saving a penalty. I know, I get that, but still saving it is harder, and that's all. Yeah. Let me see if there's anything else from this game.
Well, I will say saving a penalty is harder, but the actual technique of saving a penalty is easier than the technique of a good penalty in terms of execution. The only reason the penalty is easier is because you're deciding where you're going to go.
Yeah.
And the keeper, like Neil said, is reacting or guessing. But for me, to place a penalty well is a more difficult skill to execute than a dive.
I don't know. What do you think guys think about? I don't know if I agree with that, because you know, you kick a ball all your life. It does get, you know, you practice for these things. It should get easy. And I know you're not going to hit all of them, but you know, we can't just for the sake of an argument say, you know, and especially when Neil has shit on Williams' penalty taken for so long, like try to like put some to try to say how much pressure is on it. So it's like then you gotta like Williams. So it's like you
no.
Depend on the scenario. You pick your argument for and against the thing.
No, because I'm never analyzing. But I'm never analyzing William as a penalty taker. That's the problem. Like,
but those goals score. Those goals matter.
If you ever ask me to tell you where does William rank among the list of penalty takers I've ever seen, he'll probably rank pretty high. And I would never have a problem if William's on the pitch and he's taking the penalty. In fact, there's been one occasion where we lost precious Champions League points and eventually places because Ross Barkley tried to take the ball off William, and he took the penalty and he missed. So I've never had a problem with Williams' penalty taking skills. I just have a problem with that clouding anybody's assessment of what he is as a player.
But, the player of the year for Chelsea is sometimes his second best.
Wait, I thought the William debate was settled by that Mikel Arteta masterclass.
You brought it back up when you.
I did. You guys keep going on about that. Dude's playing in Brazil.
When you try to, I know he's in Brazil right now.
Dude's just turned 30 and he's playing in Brazil. Good luck.
I follow him. Were any of those fouls on Ronaldo penalty? I say two of them were, especially right before.
I think the Zuma one was.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
and the other one, and so it's a game where the refs, you know, kind of like did some bad refereeing in this game, but let's go to Chelsea's game versus Spurs, and then we'll go to the Man City packed stadium game because of Pep's plea. Hold on a second. I think Pep's. Hold on a second. Pep says he wants the place packed. He wants at least. Well, Pep says don't worry about this weekend. The game's at Chelsea, so y'all don't have to come out to the Etihad. That's what Pep says. He said, "All right, so." Chelsea versus Spurs should have been the biggest game in the weekend, but you don't have a Ronaldo, so it still was. But like, what's your assessment, Neil? You won. You smashed Spurs 3-0.
Yeah, it was pretty like the difference in control between the two halves was stark, and you know it's one of those games which makes you really feel comfortable having Thomas Tuchel as your manager, because we're kind of like, I think we could have still won the game playing the way we did in the first half, but we just put it out of question with the changes he made at halftime. So, and to have a manager who is proactive like that, because I don't think we are like losing the game or we are completely way off the pace. I think we were off the standard that we've come to expect from this team, but we still we're doing enough to, you know, make a 1-0 or something. But so the fact that he made that change at the 45th minute is a pretty counterintuitive change, because we are looking for a goal and we didn't have control over we are getting run over in midfield. So he brings Kante on. Most, like, you know, when you're watching the game, I thought it's going to be Kante for one of Jorginho or Kovacic. But instead he takes up Mason Mount, who's not having a good game.
Who's your best friend?
Yeah, but like he wasn't having a good game, and it was his second consecutive poor game. In fact, I think both Mount and Havertz were having a bad game. But what happens is when you take off somebody from those, the two just behind the striker, and you put in Kante, you're essentially making a defensive change in a game where you need a goal. So it's kind of counterintuitive, but I think his thought was, it's not even about changing the system. He just wanted more energy. He wanted more ball wins. And this is like, he always mentions this. He was seeing a distinct lack of ball wins and duels in the middle of the park. And he just felt that doing that will give us the springboard to, to trust the front two with the wing backs to do their job. And that's kind of what happened. It would have been interesting though, like if we didn't get that first goal from a set piece, how this system change would have worked, because it's all very good, in hindsight to say that, it was a big tactical call. But if you didn't get that, header off a set piece, I wonder if it would still, because what that did was it just allowed us to bank on control after that. Right. We didn't really need that extra impetus, but we got that extra impetus anyway, because then, Spurs started coming out a little bit more. We got Timo Werner on, who he's the most dilemma player I've ever seen, because I'm just not able to make up my mind. Every time
what do you mean you can't make up your mind? It's crazy.
The way he fluffs his line, I've never seen something like this. Like even worse, Morata was not this bad. But every time he's on the pitch,
he looks like
chances...
a Spanish international forward.
Yeah, but like every time he's on the pitch, though, our attacking play, in terms of like clear-cut chances created, goes up. So I kind of see why he keeps getting these chances, but...
Plus, you paid that much money for him. You got to keep trying him. To be honest, Havertz, besides the penalty, besides the goal that Havertz scored for you in the Champions League, he ain't had a great time either.
Yeah, I think he had a great Super Cup, and he had a first game, good game versus Crystal Palace. And then I think the second game was Aston Villa no, not second game, but Arsenal, he was good. But he wasn't that great versus... he got hooked up at halftime due to the red card versus Liverpool. And now he's had a couple of bad games. But I think he is another guy, who's on the upward trajectory. He had a great end of the season last season. The Champions League
great run. Compared to how he was playing before, or great as in this is great?
I think he was one of the reasons why we were so good in the Champions League semi-finals, both legs and the final. And, if you pay big money for somebody, those are the games you want them to rock up to. I mean, obviously none of these guys are world-class yet, so it's still a long way before expecting them to be consistent. You just want to keep seeing improvements.
Yeah, I still believe in both of them, but
yeah,
it's kind of.
But I mean, the way that the Timo Werner thing really, like, I'm just not able to decide whether he's gonna be like, should we start using him more in the first 11? Because he's not in our first 11 right now, starting 11. But something like his pace does add an extra edge to our game. So, it's a tough call. But also the game kind of...
when Kante can score and he can't. and Kante, I'm not going to diss Kante as a scorer. I just to add to what you're saying, is like if you have no midfield and you're being overrun, you have a Kante on the bench, you use that Kante. And you have to thank Sarri for playing Kante in that position for like a whole season or two.
That's true.
So that he's like, I'm comfortable there, even though everybody was mad that I was put there by Sarri. He's like, my old spot, I can do that.
Yeah, that's true. Like, it's pretty underrated how Sarri developed that aspect of Kante's game. He always had that, like, even under Antonio Conte when he won the league. There used to be these mad counter-attacks with Pedro, Hazard, and Kante would be there. But that's like, he'd do that like maybe once every game. But
he did it a lot with Leicester. He was box to box with Leicester,
Right. So, also, I think one flaw that this game kind of showed was, and I've been saying this for a while, that the lack of goals we have in our forwards, apart from Lukaku, is kind of scary. Like, I don't know how sustainable this is. If Silva scored a goal, Rudiger scored a goal, and Kante scored a goal. I don't know if we can go an entire league title, with stuff like that. Like, we genuinely need to fix the lack of goals among the forward line, except for Lukaku.
All right. Lee, did you watch this game?
Yeah.
What did you think tactically about this game, or just your thoughts, period?
I thought it was interesting the way Spurs started the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were a bit more on the front foot, playing a bit higher up the pitch. Because against Palace, I thought they were terrible.
Yeah.
They got dominated by Palace. Palace had more possession. Palace created more chances. And Spurs just looked bad in that game. Even before the red card, they were like, Palace were on top. So to see them come out against Chelsea and play a bit more positively, with a bit more intensity and a bit more ambition, was quite surprising, really. I guess they needed to after last week, but I think they looked better with Ndombele in the midfield than they did with the whole Højbjerg, Winks and Skip midfield last week. Mm-hmm. They look better with Dele Alli put back in there, and Ndombele alongside Højbjerg to sort of go box to box. So
pretty attacking team. Yeah,
I think they looked a lot stronger. But it was kind of, as long as Chelsea got through that first period where Spurs, had that extra intensity, you could sort of tell the quality was going to make the difference, because you could see Chelsea sort of weather it, and then they started becoming, the game started turning in their favour a bit more, and then it was a case of when the goals were going to come, not if, I think. And like you said about Werner, I mean, I thought he was actually quite impressive when he came on in terms of his movement, his pressing, his running and stuff. But then, it's just the finishing that lets him down. He can do everything but finish.
He's your Bergwijn.
Yeah.
White Bergwijn.
But yeah, I think the game just shows how dominant Chelsea are this season, though. City lost to this Spurs team 1-0, and Chelsea went there and pretty much brushed them aside with goals coming from Silva, Kante and Rudiger, which is just crazy, really. But yeah, it's, like I say, the sort of games this weekend that sort of tell you who's going to be in the title mix. Chelsea brushed Spurs aside. Man United didn't play well, but still won against a good team. So I think it'd be an interesting title battle.
That's just, I was going to respond, but I was like, when you said Manchester United didn't play well, we had like a lot of shots on goal, and we attacked them a lot, and they went low block on us. But I think we played pretty decent. Wan-Bissaka had shots. We had a lot of crosses. We had mad corners. It's just, West Ham has a way of making teams not look great. Like, they used to make us not look great and make us also lose. Like, they make us look so bad that our fans would boo us off the field. But, like we have, Neil was saying about, like, a proven goal scorer like Ronaldo will actually get you the goal that you need.
Yeah.
So, and then if we'd gotten one of those two penalties, it would have been like 3-1. And then the thought of not playing well doesn't look as bad. And then they get more desperate and they try to come at us earlier. Maybe we get they have to try to get points, and they're more open. So, but yeah.
But part of playing well is scoring goals and taking your chances and controlling games. If you're scoring an 89th minute winner and then almost drawing the game from a penalty, and you weren't that much in control if the game is still alive come the end.
Right. I just love the fighting spirit that everybody exhibited in the Man U game, and I think that win is a good lift of enthusiasm and energy for that a team that is supposed to challenge for the title needs. That win holds a lot for just upcoming matches. Like, we have Villa, and Villa just had the Villa match was funny. And the reason why the Villa match was funny is because Martin came over to watch that match. He came, the Villa match was Saturday, and he said, I'll come over.
It was the later game, wasn't it?
Yeah, the late game. And he came on Saturday because he said he didn't want to come for the Chelsea Spurs game the next day because he had a bad feeling and he didn't want me to make fun of him while his team is losing. So So here's the spiel.
So he is aware.
He is aware. He's aware.
Okay.
He had a bad. He knew. Like he's more aware of what Chelsea can do than you.
Because sometimes I don't quite follow with Martin.
He's a troll. Just know he's a Polish troll. He's trolling, bro.
He's a pole troll.
It's a pole troll. Yeah, that's basically what he is. He likes to just talk shit and say crazy shit. He knows what he's doing. So here's the thing with the Villa game. We're watching the Villa game. The first half, Everton looked like the stronger team. They're also missing their 2 goal scorers of Richarlison and what's the other guy's name? I knew I'd Calvert-Lewin. So Villa has that to advantage, but Damari Gray is doing his thing and he's playing good football. A great less than $2 million deal, or 2 million. I don't know, dollars, euros, or pounds. And then so Martin, the first mistake Martin said was Everton is going to score and win 1-0. Then he made a derogatory or disparaging comment about Matty Cash after I think Matty Cash gave up a ball. So why would you pay any cash for that player, right? So he said that, and then we had an argument or a discussion about Spurs not selling Kane. And I said they should have sold him. He's only going to get older. He's only going to be worth less money. Look what Spurs bought with the money look what Villa bought with the money that they got for Grealish. And Martin said, yeah, look what they sold their best player and look how terrible they're playing. This is the first half. Look how terrible they're playing. and that's why you don't sell your best player. And then by the second half, he had to eat all of those words. Matty Cash scored for Villa. So that's why you pay cash for him. Villa went 1 up and not Everton. And Leon Bailey came on and had an assist and a world-class goal. And the pass to him was by Danny Ings. So, and then all these goals were supported by the money they used to sell their best player. They bought these players and they won 3-0. So that's what was so funny watching that game. And Leon Bailey, Manchester United has to deal with him this weekend coming up. And they didn't.
Interesting to see if they start him this time.
Yeah, I know. Why do you think they didn't start him?
I think he's still getting used to the league. He's looked okay. He got an assist.
The first game against Watford.
In the first game against Watford, he set up Ings. I think it was maybe.
Yeah.
So I think he's just settling in.
I think he's acclimated.
They've got options in those positions as well. They've got good players in those positions. Like El Ghazi is underrated. Every time they put him in, he plays well. He scores goals. Buendia can play there. I like Buendia.
Yeah, Buendia.
They've got some decent players in those positions. But I think he'll be playing every week soon. They spent a lot of money on him. They should have spent more. I mean, they got him for a good price, but it's still a lot of money for Villa.
How much did they spend for him?
I think it was about 30 million or something.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, he was being talked about going for 70 a year or 2 years ago.
Damn.
Yeah.
Since they're going to play Manchester United, I just want to bring up a Manchester United player that everybody's shitting on. Everybody's saying Fred was the weak link, but I watched the match over and Fred was the one that passed the ball to Bruno Fernandes, who passed it, put the cross in. It's like everybody, first of all, Fred won the ball when West Ham were trying to get it out. One time passed it to Bruno Fernandes, and he did other things in the game. It's just a thankless job. People will pinpoint the bad passes that he makes, but that guy is everywhere. And everybody, slow your roll. Once you determine that Fred stinks, there's nothing Fred can do to not stink when he's on the pitch to you. It's look at the game. That first goal that we scored, it doesn't happen without Fred, and that's the equalizer. And yes, Matic came on and was the assist for Lingard's goal, but that's what a sub is supposed to do. So Fred was the assist to the assist, and Matic was the assist to the game winner. And De Gea, saved. the 3 points. So that's what it was. Let me see. Southampton, baby.
Did us all a favor.
So what?
Did us all a favor.
Yeah, he sure did. Good luck. Thanks, Lee. Appreciate that.
You're both welcome, guys.
So was that a red card? I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the red card, maybe, but it's a foul. And if it's a foul, then it's probably a red card. Maybe a booking because it's not because it was a slight attempt to play the ball. But our player got the ball. Walker got him. Penalty.
Walker did not get him. Like
he did. He threw his hips into him and took him to the floor.
No. Walker got past him, stepped in front of him, but he was on his way down over the ball into Walker. And I've mentioned this before about like momentum of the player who's fouled, like, and their responsibility sometimes in the foul on them because they're heading towards the contact too. And I felt in
Walker ain't in front of him. Walker's behind him and putting his leg across him.
Oh, let me say that again.
leave this place.
No, so he's but your player, right? See, that's a good shot. Your player is already on his way down, both knees, and
but
he's going down.
No, but he goes in a different direction. He was stretching for the ball. He got the ball, and then Walker hit him
for the ball. Not Walker didn't hit him. Walker's past him. Your player is on.
But Walker is going for the ball. But
Walker's hips hit his hips and take him down, and he doesn't touch the ball, so it's a penalty. And numerous referee pundits, like former referees, have said it's a penalty and a red.
I disagree with them. So, what you gonna say, Neil?
No, I was gonna say that he's definitely. There's no way he's getting that ball without getting the player.
But he didn't. But he's ahead of. So the player is behind him and contacts him. That's what I see in that shot.
No, but like he comes, like the movement is Walker going towards that, towards the ball, from like the person who's closer to the ball is the Southampton player. Walker has to do something out of the ordinary to get the ball, and in his case, it's a physical duel that he's trying to somehow wrest control of the ball, and there's no way he can do that without getting the player.
Now, first of all, Walker's fast as hell. So say this is
Armstrong's the quickest player in the league this season.
Yeah, he is. You're right. I'll give you that. Like I've heard that. But so Armstrong, right? This is Walker. Like Walker wants to do this. So say the ball is right. Say this is Armstrong, and this is a good thing I put lotion on my hands. And it still looks terrible. And the ball is Walker's trying to get past and do this. But Armstrong is doing this. Like his both knees are off the ground. How could he not go to ground when he takes both of his knees off the ground to make sure he recuperates the ball? Like I kind of agree with that.
I guess we're guessing at that point, like if he was, how much of the way was he down or not? I think Walker, what you're saying about Walker going across to get the ball, like he can't do that without touching him, without like having a good enough contact and that brings him down.
That's not an absolute statement. You could do that. You can get past the guy and I've seen players do it.
That I think you need to like completely contort the way your legs work in this angle.
I mean, these guys do that.
Also, that this could have been even more points.
Yeah,
more points off a City.
No, but what I found absolutely amazing is like sometimes like with the introduction of VR, I've stopped like complaining about stuff where there's so much debate, because I feel like if it's a 50-50, you get some, you lose some. What I absolutely found amazing was it was overturned, because there's no way you can tell me that it's Stonewall not a penalty. So
it wasn't Stonewall a penalty.
So I mean, I just found that aspect really bizarre. Like I can understand if it's not given on the ground and VR chooses not to overrule it, but then VR overruling, it being given with the amount of contact is.
There was a lot of contact. But you can't just give penalties because of contact. We
No,
gotta see
I know.
who caused the contact.
I know, but
Walker by throwing his leg out and not touching the ball. For me, he makes a movement towards the ball. He doesn't get the ball. He gets the player. He impedes the player. Penalty.
He's ahead of the player. Let me ask you.
He's not.
No,
He wouldn't
but
have to
he's
stretch his leg out if he was ahead of the
Yeah,
player.
yeah.
They're
There's a
almost-
reason why
it's 50-50. It's 50-50 until Walker fouls him.
I think Kyle Walker should be banned for 5 games. we play them Saturday.
What? I guess
that is endangering Southampton's main goal scorer. So.
I'm stuck at a crossroads. Do we talk about the officiating this weekend and talk about the Brighton Hove officiating since we're on or do we talk about Chelsea versus Man City?
We still need to talk about how well we played the game as well.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Lee, get in there, baby. Do your thing.
I mean, for the first half of the first half, we had more possession than Man City at the Etihad, which is saying something. I mean, it was the full had this weekend, but
the full
they responded to Pep's begging. But I mean, yeah, we went up there and we played well, and then we had to defend for long periods.
He preferred to say groveling.
Yeah. But we had to defend for long periods of the game as well. We had a centre-back go off with an injury in the first half, which could have thrown us. But we dealt with everything they threw at us. We didn't really concede that many big chances. Defended well, so yeah, I think we really deserved the point. I thought we were going to get absolutely annihilated. I'm not going to lie.
They had one shot on target.
One shot on goal. One shot on target.
Crazy.
Yeah, we restricted them. Yeah, like I said, we restricted them. We played well.
What did you do tactically to them?
I mean, we stuck to our formation in terms of playing with 2 up front, but we just made them we stopped them from playing through the middle, really, and getting those key players on the ball, and sort of gave up certain spaces in wide areas, which our defenders then dealt with balls into the box pretty well. But yeah, I would say it was a mature performance, because I think Hasenhüttl was sometimes going into some of those games a little bit open, and then it's hurt us. But I mean, fair play to the guy. I mean, it would have been. I mean, it's still no win for us this season,
right.
Other than the cups. But I would take 4 points from 5 games and only 1 loss. When we played City, United, West Ham is a tough game, and we kept a clean sheet.
Right.
Everton's not an easy game. Newcastle's probably the one we should have won, but we were away from home and we still scored 2. But yeah, hopefully the wins will come.
Right. Yeah, you'll win some shit. Like, your goal scorer is going to get, has to get up to speed. He's got to learn Shea Adams and Livramento, and you got Broja. You get, who's the how to.
What happened in Carabao Cup today?
We won on penalties against Sheffield United.
Oh.
Kind of a strange game though, because we made 9 changes to the team, and Sheffield United made 11 changes to their team.
Shit. So they went to their double B team.
Yeah, I don't know what was happening. But all the Sheffield United fans are saying that the 11 they played today was better than the 11 they played the weekend, because they tried a bit harder.
Hilarious.
Yeah, that's something I've seen actually off late, where usually it used to be that the cup games, a lot of the big teams, they rotate, but the teams in the lower half, or even the mid-table teams, they look at it as an opportunity to play at Wembley eventually, or have a cup run. I think with the finances of the Premier League has meant that now every team pretty much rotates in the early rounds of I don't think any team pretty much takes these seriously anymore, unless you're like Wycombe or like somebody from not even Championship, like League One or somebody.
Liverpool won today. They rotated.
They rotated quite a bit.
They rotated big time, but Origi, man, like he played. Was it last week he played?
He played in the Europa the Champions League. Sorry,
Champions.
He played, yeah.
And had a good assist there, and he scored 2 times today. And then
and that's kind of crucial because
Sheffield
I think
United played Derby.
so. Just to touch upon Liverpool, because they had a big win in the Premier League. Again, a game where for periods Crystal Palace had a pretty good game. So there were spells where it looked like, especially when they were 1-0 up, but from that, between the first and second goal, it did look like Crystal Palace can equalize. They came close to equalizing.
Gallagher created a good chance, didn't he, when he put the ball over the top? That was it. Benteke?
Pretty early on.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
I think it was Zaha. Yeah,
ball over the top to Zaha, and Alisson managed to claw it away.
Yeah,
but again, in that game, Liverpool rotated. Like they played if I go back to that
Tsimikas was back into the team.
Yeah, he took a big
Keita.
chance against a team that beat Spurs 3-0 the week before. That's
I think that's what we are seeing. Like with Liverpool, I think it's pretty well known that their biggest problem is their lack of depth. Because if you look at their main starting 11, it's as good as anybody in the league. But there is, the fact that they didn't get anybody in the transfer window apart from Konate.
Who they played, and I didn't.
Right.
They didn't get anybody so much. I forgot about him, but he played his first.
But Konate, I mean, like he's one of the most hottest centre back, up and coming centre backs in Europe. Like when he was bought, so I have big hopes from him.
Yeah, they're making sure that they never have a centre back problem ever again.
Yeah, after what happened last season. So the thing with Liverpool's depth, I feel, is like, it gets said as a generalized statement. But if you really look at it, the lack of depth is in attack. Because I think midfield and defense, they're sorted. Like even with their backups they have
Keita had a good game this week as well. Yeah. Great goal he scored.
But I don't think, I wished Klopp, there's something shady the way Klopp treats Keita. Like, I feel like he's good, but he's playing how old is that kid that just got injured last week?
Harvey Elliott? I think he's 18.
19.
He's playing an 18, 19-year-old kid over Keita. And it was, the kid has to get his knee, ankle twisted for Keita to get back in the game. It's like, it's weird. Like, Keita's bona fide, if you ask me. It's like,
did you see the look on Keita's face when he scored that goal?
Yeah.
That was so funny.
I've been telling him I could do this shit. I told you, play me. That's a world-class goal.
But Keita, again, like, you're somebody who, when he came in, his stock was so high, like, as that midfielder with a proper goal thread in him and the physicality. I think he's been injured a lot. And, even apart from that,
he hasn't been playing. So how would you get injured if you ain't playing?
He gets injured quite a lot. He's like Pulisic. But unlike Pulisic, who, when he has had spells of being really good, Keita, even when he's been playing, he hasn't really been able to, put his stamp on the. And of course, it's difficult because majority of that has been in a Liverpool team which has been doing so well. So you don't really get a lot of game time if you're a backup. But I think he's still like somebody who has to prove his value, the big money that they spent on him. But this might be his season, though.
I mean, it should be. Now that, what's his name, Elliott got injured, who they put ahead of him. Like, even last year, they was playing Jones ahead of him. I was like, what's up with Keita? What did Keita do? Then they got Alcantara. It's just.
And Mane scoring goals now. Like, Mane seemed like, he's kind of having his downturn, but like he's scoring now 2 and 2 goals, 2 and 2 games. He's been getting chances and just his finishing was missing, but now he's scoring. So yeah, if they can keep that attack fit, I'd be scared of Liverpool too.
Yeah, I'd be completely scared. And I noticed how the last few Liverpool games I saw that Salah's actually trying to get the ball to Mane. And Mane is just a complete footballer. He can play football. So, he can play midfield. So when he drops back sometimes and goes forward, it's just like you're just getting quality from him all over the pitch. And his desire is back. I don't think he had complete desire that he had the year before last year, but now all that's back.
And Salah loves the golden boot. We already know that. And now there's Ronaldo, there's Lukaku in the mix. So I'm sure that that's an added. Certain players like like they are so driven, they get that extra spurt of drive.
Despite all that, Chelsea should win, and if they don't, it's a debacle for them.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I already got my. I just got it today in the mail. My Champions League Porto. I don't know if you can see. Final Porto.
Nice.
Jersey. It's got Kai Havertz in the back. So
the most inconsistent player.
Hey, he scored a goal. Yes, Frank Lampard, Didier Drogba, Kai Havertz, 3 Chelsea players to scored in the Champions League final.
That's a good. I guess a good jersey. I can't front. Yeah. Brighton Hove. They are in the table. In the table. Let me go to the table. Brighton Hove are it's high.
Crashing the party.
Yeah, there's always some team earlier on crashing the party. But Brighton Hove is getting points from the games they didn't get last year.
Yeah, exactly. They were already at the party. We just didn't they just didn't talk.
They could, they were just hanging out in the corner. This time they get I'm gonna go talk to that girl. I'm gonna go get it.
They were hiding in the bathroom or something.
Yeah, like they come out the bathroom, shirt buttons open, and they're like, "Yo, what's up?" I was like, "What are you doing in the bathroom, bro? Because you are pretty bold right now." Yeah, Brighton Hove, man. And the luck that would have went against them last year, this weekend, like they got the ref just like took away 2 goals from Leicester that were clear goals, at least one of them. So Brighton Hove would have dropped points, and their first goal was kind of dodgy, like the handball on Vestergaard, your ex-player Lee. He got dragged down by one hand by Mopé and just put his hand up like a drowning person to like beg for help, and the ball hit his hand, and they're like, "Yo, that's a penalty." And it's like, "Yo, didn't you see this guy drag me underwater? Like, I was just trying to let the lifeguard know where the fuck I was at under there." And then, and then so that went in their favor, and yeah, the Brighton Hove has fucking 12 points after 5 games. Last year, it took them over 10 games to win 3 games.
I still maintain that's the manager Spurs should have got.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. We were teasing Martin with a good tease, and he didn't want to take it. That's this guy. I want this guy to coach England because he's so positive.
Yeah, I could 100% see him as a future England manager.
Yeah, man.
He's tactically smart. He plays good football. And he's learning every season.
Yeah, like it's growing, right? So like all the wins, it's like it's funny. It's like sometimes I remember seeing Ralphie May at the Laugh Factory, right before he got on Last Comic Stand-In, before he was famous, and I was like, damn, he should be killing, but he was just doing okay. Like you could hear him, and the same thing with Wanda Sykes at the Comedy Cellar back in the day. It's like you could hear them, but it's like the audience is not hearing them. Like this should be killing right now, but there's something not clicking, and it's clicking for me, but it ain't clicking for them. And then you just got to keep doing it. And then it clicks. And when it clicks, it's over. Like when Ralphie May clicked, it clicked. And then Wanda Sykes, so it's just like they're doing the right thing. They're just not getting the results. And then you just keep doing it, and then the results come. And it's a mentality not to back down and second guess yourself. Like when you play Brighton Hove, they're going to throw all the cards at you, and they're going to come forward. And they're doing a thing. Is Lamptey still on the team? Because he's not playing.
He's injured.
He's injured. He gets injured a lot, man.
Yeah.
I think it's the same injury that's been. It was a long-term injury which he had. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Graham Potter, like he has both sides of the game locked down. He's not one of those Marcelo Bielsa kind of managers who's just gonna go at 100 from. Well, I mean, there's no upward trajectory to Bielsa's career, so we can probably say that now. But
disrespectful, all right.
But like Graham Potter, yeah, like I can see him at a top 6 team or a top 4 team in the future.
Yeah,
like he's ticking all the right boxes.
Yeah.
He needs to make sure, though, that he leaves
at the right time.
Exactly. That he doesn't become Eddie Howe.
Yeah.
Because Eddie Howe stayed at Bournemouth for probably 2 seasons longer than he should have.
Yeah.
Right.
He could have got a big job at one point, but he hung on, and now look at him.
I think that's something to like. You have to be a little bit ruthless and driven for your own career. Like fuck the club, and just because we see that a lot in foreign coaches. I think somehow English coaches, they kind of like tend to, maybe because they are from certain parts, like they tend to fall in love with clubs a little before they should.
Yeah, I mean, Bournemouth was Eddie Howe's club as well. Like he'd played there, he'd managed them through all the divisions. So I get it to a degree, but I mean, for his own career, he should have left earlier than he did. He let it go stale and let it go crap, and then relegated them. So,
he should have broke up with them, shouldn't it? He should have broke up.
Where is he? I mean, he's like, he doesn't even get the Sky gigs anymore.
He was linked with the Celtic job, but then there was some disagreements over what coaches he could bring in and what his budget would be. So he didn't take that in the end. And that was the only job that he was really linked with. I mean, there was some slight Spurs rumours, but I don't think he was ever really in the running there. So it'd be interesting to see what he does pop up next, whether it's a Premier League job or if it's somewhere else.
You can get this Norwich job. I mean, I'm not trying to say somebody should get fired. And I like Fark. He's the
Fark. They love him at Norwich as well. The board really back him in terms of patience. They don't back him much financially.
I mean, he's lost all the games so far. He lost to Arsenal. He lost this weekend again to Watford. Then he lost midweek already. And who are they going to play next? That they're going to get this next loss from? Like, I don't think they should fire him. But if he keeps losing this time, if they're at the bottom of the table, like really bad, they can say, hey man, we were loyal. We're gonna get somebody else.
I could definitely see Eddie Howe there if he did go.
Yeah.
But why would Eddie Howe take that though? Like you want to kind of like get into a job where you can succeed.
Yeah,
but I think he did. That he stayed at Bournemouth so long that his stock went back down, and I don't think he would. I don't think he would get a big job right now. There was rumours that he is holding out for when Hassan will eventually leave Southampton, because he lives in the area. Because Bournemouth and Southampton are pretty close. It's like just under an hour apart. And apparently he's very settled in the area, so he's just trying to wait for that job. Was something I did read. I don't know how much truth there is in that, but we'll see.
Jimmy Greaves. Tell us what you know about Jimmy Greaves, Lee. Because
one of, if not maybe the greatest English goal scorer of all time. I mean, I've only ever seen obviously videos of watching him play. I remember him when I was growing up. He was on TV quite a lot. As a host and a pundit, but I mean, if you look at his numbers as a player, just a pure goal scorer, one of the best. So yeah, he'd been ill for a while, so it was not entirely unexpected, but it's still sad when a legend dies. So yeah, but yeah, just by all accounts, a good guy and a great goal scorer.
Yeah, I don't know much, and to be honest, I didn't know at all. I'm like, how did I not know about Jimmy Greaves? Like the greatest, like even on a European level, if you match his numbers up, he's at the top of everybody. He's like right after Ronaldo and Messi. And then I saw some highlights. I was like, what? It's tough to see, not because cameras were bad back then, but he was just so fast and flawless, the way he just ran through and he scored lasers. And I was like, I got to look up more footage on Jimmy Greaves. It's like, how did this secret kind of happened? I guess he got injured and didn't play in the World Cup final.
Yeah, and he had some moves that didn't go amazingly. He went out to AC Milan for a couple of seasons, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Went out to Serie A, but I mean, most of his goals were scored in this country. I think Tottenham, he was one of his biggest ones, and he played really well for England as well. So
yeah, he won the European Cup for Spurs. It's just when they talk about English football and
Cup Winners' Cup.
Yeah, European Cup. Wow. Hey, we're talking about Jimmy. Martin's not here. You're not giving him.
No, Jimmy Greaves, Chelsea legend. I mean,
Yeah, he played
Yeah.
with Chelsea as well. Yeah.
Yeah, he started at Chelsea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, he like, when you start following a club, you try and get to know more about what came before you. And Jimmy Greaves is somebody whose name would always come up. I think my memory's a little hazy, but I think he came just after like Chelsea won that first league title in '55. So he was part of a pretty good young brigade of pretty good team in the mid '50s, early '60s at Chelsea. And scored a lot of goals. When I went to Chelsea, there's like a couple of quotes of him, hung up on the wall, and I think he says something to the effect that it's probably the greatest name in the world. Like when you think of Chelsea, you think of the best part of the best city in the world, something like that. So words to that effect, and it really like makes you feel as a fan pretty good about your club when you hear those words. And you see somebody like Jimmy Greaves. So the goal scoring record, I only got to know about it this week, like the fact that it's as high as, say, a Ronaldo or a Messi. But the fact that he's been somebody at the who in his time was one of the legends is like I've heard a lot of these anecdotes and stories about him.
Like you always hear certain old names.
Yeah.
His never comes up. Like he had to die for it to come up again, and it's not like he wasn't like visibly doing stuff on TV like Lee. You grew up watching him on TV. It's just so like Lee. Like, do they mention his name at all? Like when you watch Match of the Day or shows like before this weekend, like it's like
no, he'd been off the radar for a little bit just because he'd become quite old and stuff, and I think people tend to forget that era maybe a little bit when he was scoring all those goals.
But I hear George Best all the time. I hear the two brothers from Man United who are in the world. You just hear he was on teams with these people. Jeff Hurst. It's just so weird, man.
He was in the 66 team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was unused, I think, maybe.
I think he was injured before the final used Jeff Hurst. He would have beat Germany's ass for real. They couldn't have just tripped on that. Yeah, like just based on the footage that I saw, but man. I mean, like a lot of people are sad, but he lived till 81 and he did what he did and he had a life after football. I saw a clip with him that they showed on Match of the Day, and the people are like, "Do you look back?" I said, "Nah, you just got to live forward." And he said, people ask him, "Would you ever want to do it again?" I said, "Shit, I hope I wouldn't have to do that all again." and he's just like some pretty amazing, like forward-thinking stuff. So, and he seemed like a very funny dude based on some of the clips, and just enjoyed his life. So.
Yeah, that was why he was good on TV, because he had a good sense of humor and was playful.
Yeah. Now that we talked about Jimmy Greaves, let's talk about something really sad. Messi getting taken off in the middle of a PSG game. Like, let's talk about somebody.
The PSG move for me never felt right when it happened. Like, it just looked wrong. I didn't want to see it. I would rather he went to City to play in front of 20 people than go to PSG.
and getting yanked off the field.
There was that whole romance of maybe like a Pep reunion, wasn't it, and stuff. And the PSG, I know City are pretty soulless, but the reunion with Pep would have added a little bit of romance to it. But going to PSG was just purely soulless. Like, it was just, I just felt nothing about it. Like, it was, in terms of like emotion, like it was just like, it just felt cold.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of glad that it's going to shit a little bit.
What do you think, Neil?
I mean, I didn't watch the game. I only saw the reactions after, and I mean, the only reaction I needed to see was the video of him walking past Poch, and Poch is like, I can't do anything right. Like, I'm in the best this is probably the most cushy job in world football. Like, you get all the money, you can coast through 90% of your games, and you just need to turn up for a few games in the Champions League. And then you already have Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe, and they tell you, hey, you know what, Sergio Ramos, Donnarumma, Wijnaldum. Oh, by the way, Messi's at the door, so we get them in, and it's going pretty. I mean, it's snuff. Like, you don't want these guys to go that bad, but like from a pure,
hater. You're a pure hater.
Yeah, like somebody who would want PSG to go to complete shit on the European stage.
Why?
It's pretty good. Like, I mean, it's one less team to worry about, right? Like, I want Barcelona to continue with the Ronald Koeman for some more time, or if they do, like, hire somebody like Antonio Conte, who's gonna keep cribbing. Like, imagine if you're in debt and you get Antonio Conte, like, he'll start cribbing from day one what he would otherwise do from, like, year 2 or 3. So
what I will say though, this must be the first time in Messi's career that he has been subbed off at 1-1 for a fullback. I think that's why he was pissed.
Hakimi, yeah, he's like, you subbed me off for somebody who scored 400 less goals than me.
At 1-1.
At 1-1, but the subs worked. So Podge proved that he was a coach. Hakimi came on, then he brought on Icardi, and at the last 9 minutes of the game, they scored. But Podge is in a situation, and then I was reading BBC today, and right before we came on, and Podge is saying that Messi has an injury and might not play this weekend, and he saw Messi looking at his knee, and that's why he pulled. So I didn't know Podge has X-rays in his eyes and can tell, like, if a player is injured from just watching it. But Messi, listen, you know how Neil just said it's easy, a cushy league? Let me tell you something, bro. I've seen like 3 PSG games, and every team comes at them like they're young boys, at a young boys intensity. Who did PSG play midweek?
Club Brugge.
It came. Everybody is bringing it because it's crazy.
It's everyone's cup final now.
Yeah, I mean, you're playing professional football. Like, you should expect teams to turn up.
But like Chelsea or even Man U's going to face this, like, because we have Ronaldo. It's like sometimes you play the teams you're supposed to beat and they don't bring their A game, right?
Yeah.
These motherfuckers, everybody PSG I've seen play so far has brought their A game. I've watched the game.
I mean,
like,
who was that? Was it
Leon is like a rival, right?
Yeah.
And they brought it. Like, it was not an easy game. Like, I was like, who are these guys? Like, if you saw that game, you'd want to buy some of these players for Chelsea.
No.
Leon are a Champions League team though, a lot of the time.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying like every player from every team is trash. There's obviously quality in the league. Like, we keep buying. We got Mendy from, like, guy who's like turned around our goalkeeping fortunes. We bought him from Liga.
Players and most expensive players in the world are from the French league.
No, but this is also the league where the dude was taking pictures with Messi with his daughter, like the keeper, Pedra,
because he's Messi,
I think. But that would never happen in a million years. Like, find me a guy. Like, find me like who's like Pickford would not be taking pictures with Ronaldo. Like, Pickford and his daughter would not be taking pictures with Ronaldo.
Don't say never say never.
And this is how I know. This is how I know how low stakes this is. The scene of Messi. Messi pretty much told Poch. Poch was like, well, you're struggling, and Messi pretty much hinted at him like, well, I know my body, so what do you? That's how low stakes a Liga game is. Like, you can get away with doing shit like this. Like the other day when Ronaldo...
I don't understand that point because Podge wanted to win this game.
No, but like Messi, I don't have a problem with Poch and what Poch did. Like, the fact that Messi can set Joe so casually, be a rebel. And this happens pretty much every other week with them, with some superstar or the other. Like the other day, young boys. Yeah, that's young boys versus United. I think it was a shot of Ronaldo pulling the strings from the touchline, like from the like he's sending out some
Yeah, I saw
instructions
that.
and
And
stuff.
Bruno Fernandes joined him.
Right. And Rio Ferdinand, who's this United legend, who's a close friend and confidant of Ronaldo, called him out on it
Well,
within the same day.
all
Like,
right.
He did then praise him for it afterwards.
But yeah, there you go.
but like there's some pushback.
watched-
Like, it's not on.
From
Like, you
Rio.
don't do this.
Rio's not the authority in the club. I love Rio. Like I watched the 5, and he said Ollie went, like, some reporter gave Ollie a version of what Rio said, and then somebody else like Stephen Housen. We're gonna try to get Stephen Housen on this show because he's done it. He does it once a year, and but even he said he spoke to somebody in the club, and it's not a big deal. And they what if it needed to be fixed, it's fixed. What is underestimated about Ollie is how much. Listen, man, Ollie's a survivor. Like the amount of turmoil he's had to deal with between players and turmoil with the board and Ryla, and he's still there. The conditions of the team and the strength of the team still keep getting better and better, and the relationships, like he had to sub out Pogba this weekend for the guy who caused them to lose the game and still got a result like that, and then everybody's hugging everybody. It's fine, bro. Yeah.
No. I'm actually saying the same thing as you are.
Right.
Like, it doesn't get to a serious rebellion kind of a situation because these clubs take themselves that seriously, and they take every game that seriously. Like, you can't afford to be playing games in the Premier League with with your main players unhappy, and the club, you have to get rid of the manager, or you gotta stop that. Like, you can't have a situation where players are like constantly questioning. Pochettino is not. He's got a far more pedigreed resume than even than Ole. So, but players still feel it's okay.
I mean, when Messi gets taken off, it does look Atlanta housewife dramatic. It looks like they went to a party and the person that wasn't invited to the party shows up and gets a drink thrown in their face by the person who threw the party. So, and then people like to feed into that and build it up like that. But Pochettino is still unproven. He's 1 degree more proven than Ollie because he won like 2 cups since he got to PSG with a team, which you even say he should have won 2 cups with it. And I don't blame him for not winning League One last year because he came at a point when there's probably not enough time to put in his entire philosophy to win the league.
He came well before the halfway point.
Oh, yeah?
And he was, I think, 1 point behind the league leader.
Oh.
And he still had that team.
And who won? Was it
Lille?
Lille was on one. And they play Moneyball, and they just fucked up because they just owe this huge ass loan, so they've been selling everybody. But yeah, I mean, it's going. Here's the funny thing about Messi being at PSG. I watched the Barcelona game in La Liga, and they scored a goal like I've never seen in this one. The philosophy of Barcelona football, it hasn't changed completely, but it's changed a lot since Messi's gone and since Xavi's gone and Iniesta. In all the times that I watched Barcelona play, since Pep was there, before when Rijkaard was there, maybe more when Pep was there, the game that Barcelona played this weekend, they took more corners in that game, like full-on corners with the cross the ball in, than I've seen them take since Pep was there and all the other coaches after, until Messi left. Like, they were crossing that ball like crazy, and then they were down 1-0 to, I think it was Valencia, and they got one header in by Arroyo, I think I'm pronouncing his name, like right at the end of the game. And he almost scored in the first half when they went down. But it's rough over there. And they're playing a lot of teenagers. Like I've never seen that many kids. Like he started like a 17-year-old, like left back, and then he subbed that person out, and then he's subs out Sergio Roberto for like an 18-year-old, and then it's just crazy the ages of the people. Like these are people I never heard of he's putting in the game. But they salvage a point, but people want him gone. Meanwhile, Real Madrid doing Real Madrid things. And it's just fun to watch not Ansu Fati. It's fun to watch Vinicius Jr. and Benzema combine. They are just combining like crazy over there. So
Rodrigo scored a nice goal for the midweek as well against Inter Milan.
Yeah. And he got the pass from Camavinga, who was a sub. So wait till Camavinga just starts playing full time. It's going to be crazy. Right now, he's just getting subbed into games. Is there anything anybody wants to cover? Chelsea, what do you think your chances? Chelsea versus Man City, bro. What's up?
I mean, I think we can. I don't expect us to lose. So, I mean, we go into these games and we barely give out any chances. And if you just see City through these, the opening few weeks of this of the season, that's been their problem. So I feel like it's gonna be the way our defense is and the way their attack seems to lack precision, that we should be able to keep a clean sheet. I just don't see us conceding like more than max one goal.
Right.
So maybe if there's some freak set piece or a penalty or something like that, but hopefully, the thing I'm really interested to go see is that. So Thiago Silva, the last game, Thiago Silva and Marcos Alonso, two players who were thought before the starting of the season to kind of be backups this season. Silva because of age, and Alonso because he's Alonso. But the way they've started this season, Silva again, like he doesn't play all the time, but like every time he plays, he's turning 37. I think sometime this week.
Right now.
Right, like he doesn't even look like he looks 27. So that's a different thing. I don't know what kind of skincare regimen he has, and probably needs to Shopify that. But even otherwise, like on the field, like he's the world-class center back he's always been. Like there's just no drop off to his performances. And Marcos Alonso,
Dele Alli would agree with you because he couldn't keep up to him on 2 crosses.
Yeah, and he should have scored twice actually. Lloris made a great save. The second one.
Yeah.
And Marcos Alonso, I think initially he kept.
Who you hate?
I don't think. Yeah, I mean, he's not my preferred choice in the starting 11. And he's definitely somebody I hate as a fullback, but I can tolerate him as a wingback. But
Very nice of you.
But like I think he started the season because he was there all through preseason, and Chilwell wasn't there, and therefore he got that first one. But now he's keeping Chilwell out on merit.
Chill who?
Well, now he's keeping Chilwell out on merit, and you really can't you can't fault the guy, but because he doesn't even play as a wing back. Like if the number of times the ball is with Lukaku and the guy closest to him is Alonso is just insane. Like the guy, like the youth team coach who tried to make Marcos Alonso a fullback, that dude needs to be tried for some crime. He probably robbed us from all-time great striker. The instinct he has.
You wouldn't have bought him as a striker.
Well, you never know. Like if that's the only thing he had to do, right from 16, 17, 18, you never know what this guy could have done because he does half of it when he's not supposed to be doing any of it. So
going back to the game, I'm really interested to see how Pep sets up for this game and who he picks, because I think you guys were already in his head before the Champions League final, which is why he overthought it then. And then obviously that didn't go well. So I'm thinking, is he going to try and overthink again, like double overthink, to think, oh, that didn't work, I need to do something else now? Because I still don't think he knows his best team this season.
He doesn't.
Without having a proper number 9, like he keeps changing the front line. I mean, against us at the weekend, Foden, De Bruyne, and Mahrez were all on the bench, and they all came in and didn't do anything. So I'm interested.
When did they come in the game? And are they both? Foden's recovering from an injury. And De Bruyne is always kind of injured. So
they both played today. They started today.
Yeah.
Right. They
came in against us, I think, like 60-something minutes and 70-something minutes, maybe.
Is that to get like match fitness for,
Yeah, I think because they felt they needed to try and win the game, but they couldn't because they came up against a good team.
It's good to see Kaki lead. Good to see Kaki.
Nah, we'll get like smashed this week by Wolves probably. So
Wolves lost to goddamn Brentford.
That was a mature performance from Brentford as well, with 10 men as well after they scored the 2 goals.
Yeah, and speaking of
sort it out.
Yeah, and speaking of maturity, we didn't talk about Burnley versus Arsenal. And let me tell you something. There's a lot of things about football. You have to try to score, and you have to try not to get scored on. And then if you score, what are you going to do after you score? What are you going to how are you going to stop the other team from scoring when they have the adrenaline of being scored on? How do you avoid like them getting a lucky deflection? How do you defend them physically? How do you keep your composure for other plays? Like, what happens if you get a handball or offside that doesn't go your way? And, and I just think like Arsenal's performance this weekend against Burnley was, Arteta always gets shit on about when he talks about process now. But if there was ever a time the process was working, was this game. Like those young boys with Partey and to bring, what's the Lacombe, is his name Lacombe? Or the other central defense.
Yeah, the guy they got from Anderlecht.
Yeah, to bring him on when you have to bring somebody off, and no Shaka on the pitch, and just the young kids. And I said, all right, Arteta got unlucky with all these injuries at the beginning of the season, and yeah, they beat Burnley, who could normally, they was just as physical as Burnley. They didn't wilt, and Burnley, tried to get at them, and these guys like game management towards the end of the game, and you gotta give
big game for them this weekend now.
Let me see who they got.
North London derby.
Yeah. Oh, Spurs. Who you got in that?
I hope Arsenal.
Yes.
Just for how funny it would be, and just how much Martin is shit on Arsenal. I mean, we've all shit on Arsenal, but it'll be funny. It'll be funniest if it's Tottenham who lose to them. And yeah, I mean, yeah, we just want to all make fun of Martin, don't we? So whether he shows up or not. But no, in terms of the game, I think Spurs need to be the favourites for that one. In terms of the quality in their squad, they have better players than Arsenal, in my opinion. So Spurs should win, but it's a derby game. Arsenal have 2 wins now. Spurs have 2 losses. So who knows?
I heard Harry Kane is going to play central defender this game. So
against the club he supported as a boy.
Yeah. I'm like, I didn't even like. They put Son ahead of. That's what I want to discuss about that other game. How they put Son ahead of Kane. It wasn't even a false 9 situation. It was like they
Kane was playing wide, wasn't he? He was on the wing.
Wide. You made your best player a winger, and a winger has to go back and defend. And Son is faster and more agile. It's like, I don't know, but it was working in the first half. I don't know if they just put them there and they switched, but it was working in the first half. But you know, Kane takes the false nine thing too literally, and he turns into a midfielder and he spends most of his time in midfield. He's got to learn how to manage that. Like you got to be in the box. Like Ronaldo stays in the box. Like you could just keep looking for him, and on one of those 20 crosses, you're gonna find him. Might be the first one. It might be in the next 10. You might find him a couple times. But like, and Ronaldo, just in his defense too, like he played, like it was a total team game this weekend. Like there's so many times he ran back and was like defending against Bowen. And like, he did the bicycle kick on a clearance defensively. So yeah, man, like it's giving way more than, I'm not going to shit on Messi, but
yeah, Ronaldo he isn't just Harlem Globetrottering. Like he is playing like as a team guy, like not just somebody who's here to, you know, collect goals and golden boots and stuff. Apparently the thing with Son was that he's injured, so you want to give him the least stuff to do. So you put him up and central. But I mean, I would just say, like in that case, just don't play him. Like you kind of, because the one shot chance he got, Kepa got to a ball quicker than him, which probably doesn't happen if you know, Son is fit.
Yeah, it was a brave save, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, look out, Mendy. Kepa has got your job.
He was taking high balls and everything as well.
Yeah, man. Yeah, bro. Yeah, Kepa. Mendy, watch your back. Kepa, you better not be injured this week because
Kepa's reborn.
Yeah, man.
I think it's still, apparently tomorrow we're going to play this third keeper, Marcus Bentinelli.
Yeah, the old Fulham keeper.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, we just signed him this summer, so.
Yeah, he's your Scott Carson.
Yeah, yeah.
Damn, I wanted to say something like I can't remember. Any last words, Lee?
No, just it was a penalty. Is all I've got to say. It was a penalty. We should have beaten City at their own place in front of the rare full house.
I agree.
But no, looking forward to Wolves this weekend. We'll see what happens. It'll be like us to beat or to draw with City and then lose heavily to Wolves. So I'm staying negative, staying pessimistic.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Neil was optimistic about like Chelsea. What you got, Neil? Last words.
I wanted to touch upon something which I think we kind of slightly alluded to throughout the podcast, but like the whole Pep Man City fans thing. I mean, I understand his point about like he's probably not used to, you know, not having every game.
Can't hear you.
Sorry, like from being at Barcelona and Bayern, but I feel it was a little entitled from him. Like it's not like fans are choosing not to come. Just, you know, they can come and they're not choosing not to come. Like, you know, you're just recovering from a pandemic. You already knew before you took the job that it's not the biggest club in Manchester, so they don't have as many repeat fans to, you know, like a Manchester United game, if it sells out and if the same folks want to save their money and don't come to the next game, there's another wave of people, you know, looking to take those seats. So Pep knew all that before he took the job. Like, I feel
apparently he didn't,
harsh,
and he's just realizing it.
No, but he kind of threw the Manchester City fan under the bus. Like, what can they do? Like, if you're a Manchester City fan, you're still a loyal fan. Like,
he just begged people to come out. I don't see the.
No, he kind of like, you know, stoked. He basically gave every rival fan a stick to beat every City fan with, with all the empty hat thing.
That he did, but
he did, and he should have. Like,
he didn't insult City fans.
He insulted City fans in the sense that
City fans with his words.
It's not easy to come out. Like, City has a loyal fan base, and you know, as Lee said, that that stadium was full on the weekend, but they have certain logistical issues. Like, Like if
Man United is a big logistical issue.
Right, and Pep knows that. So why would you put your own fans throw your own fans under the bus? Like if you really care about having full stadiums, speak to the guy up top, campaign for cheaper tickets, tickets for under 21s, under 25s, because they'll create a proper racket.
I'm sorry. This is Pep. Yeah, he wants to see if 3 people want to come out to an under 18 game this weekend. So any Man City fan is an under 18 game, please come out. That's from Pep. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, like, I was thinking about it, like, as a Chelsea fan, I've tried to go to these games. It's never like, it's next to like impossible not having a season ticket and trying to find and not having enough points accrued over
Go as an away fan.
No, you can't. Like, I mean, you can but you're risking getting beaten up.
Just don't wear that shirt. Don't wear that shirt.
No, you're also risking
a pop quiz by
criminal liability.
Who's our favorite?
I've done it a couple of times.
Yeah.
I've been to a couple of Southampton games in the away end. It's not fun.
It's no fun.
Oh, by the way,
almost give yourself away.
Oh, by the way, away tickets are even tougher to get because the quota is even less and more of whichever team is trying to get in. So,
well, since Man City has no fans, you should go when Man City's away playing Chelsea
and make a trip to Manchester. That's what he's asking me to do with my UK trip.
Yeah.
All right. I'll drop by Birmingham. Yeah. There's a lot of us.
So I forgot to ask you this earlier, Lee. So you're working on some badges?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing my next UEFA license at the moment.
To what stage is this you at?
The A license.
The big one? You can coach, you can relegate, you can coach Spurs to relegation badge.
I couldn't manage Spurs, but I could be on the staff of Spurs. I could manage in the championship if I get this qualification.
All right, dope. And you went into to how many days was this thing?
Just 2.
Just
this
2?
week. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But no, it's pretty cool. Just being around that environment.
Who was there?
Can't really talk too much about who's on it.
Okay, sorry.
That there, because it's we can't I couldn't take any pictures in there properly or anything and stuff like that. But there's a lot of people from Premier League clubs there.
Was it?
Send it on the chat, right?
Hilarious.
Throw it up on the chat.
Was it a Carrington?
No, but all the Premier League referees were there this weekend, so I was tempted to talk to John Moss about the Kyle Walker penalty incident. But, I thought that would have been unprofessional. So I just gave him like an evil glare. But
was he going to shake his hand and tell him, "Well, good call"?
But no, it was a nice experience being there. It's it's an incredible facility, St George's Park. So I'm back in November up there again. So.
It's dope, man. Get them
That's
coaches
awesome,
badges, baby.
Because Ian is asking like, how quickly can we shit on you for like dropping a disaster class? Or on the other hand, like, how close are you to becoming, or maybe you already are a better manager than Gary Neville or either of the Neville brothers? Didn't
Inter Miami go on like a 7-game win streak?
They're winning some games now, but they should have always been, because they have an illegal budget essentially. They spent more money than any other club, so they should be winning games. That's the bare minimum.
I mean, you just have to. Even when you cheat, you got to make the team play together. Good for beckoning him now. So that's it for me, man. I want to thank producer Aaron Brungard for putting this all together. I want to thank Chelsea for beating the shit out of Spurs. I want to thank Man United for just rekindling the romance story that made me fall in love with them in the first place. It's so funny. It's like when I started watching Man United, Solskjaer was a player. Now he's a coach. Ronaldo joined shortly after when he was a player. and now he's coaching Ronaldo, and we're having these games where, you know, everybody's not sure if Ronaldo is going to be able to help us, and he's scoring in all the games. And then we see like more class of 92 type stuff where you have players like Greenwood and Rashford. And even though Shaw is not an academy player, he's been there so long, it kind of feels like he's one of our own.
Hey,
I know. He's one of you guys, but is it like how long ago was that? And he's had his own redemption story, Shaw, in as a player. He's been through so many coaches, and then there's Lingard. Like, you know, he started with Pogba in the youth team. They won something together, and then Pogba left, and Pogba's back, and then Lingard's in and out, and he had mental issues and family problems, and he's like, I'm doubling down at the hardest time of his career to get into this team, and getting into this team and messing up and then redeeming himself, and to see the gear, you know, like save some goals. It's just where we are in the table compared to last year, and are we going to keep this up? You know, so and even though the competition is tough and I know it, I'm not afraid. It's just fun. The game, I was super anxious against West Ham. Like, I couldn't really enjoy the game. I know they're a dangerous team. They haven't lost in the Premier League in any competition in a lot of games. And I know their main scorer wasn't there this weekend. But yeah. You know, when a game of margins, if Ollie ties this game, everybody's like, Ollie out. That's how close a decision that was. That's how important it was for De Gea to save that penalty. It's that part that if he doesn't save that penalty all week up until tomorrow when we play in it, it's Ollie out. And just that. And then but you know, Ollie always keeps his composure and keeps his calm whether we win or lose. And he's like, hey, you know, it's just, you know, just the fans be like getting carried away and overboard, but fuck it. You know, it's just going to be a great season period. And Lee, good luck against Wolves. You know, Traore, Trincao, Podence. Where's Neto? Is he injured? I haven't seen him. Did they?
I think he is. Yeah.
Yeah. You better hope he's not back. You know, Southampton. Let's see what they do. And Neil, good luck against Man City.
Yep.
All right, guys, everybody watching, thank you.
Thanks.
And, you know, tune in next week.